I love this time of year. I just spent the last week on and off reflecting back of my previous accomplishments. What was going through my head, my heart. I was looking back through journals. And it's really cool to see where I was exactly with names and dates and details and numbers and thoughts 15 years ago. It shows me and it reminds me of how far I've come in all of this time. I can tell you when my kids took their first steps, or said their first words, or ate their first bite of food, or whatever it was. It's all there in those journals. I like to look back and reflect because it helps me come back to the now with even greater clarity. It helps me to, when I look back, to not from a place of regret or remorse at all. It helps me to appreciate how far I've come, what those struggles got me to ultimately, and just to appreciate where I am now. One of the things we did different than years before as a family is, after going through all of my journals, in fact, I'm not even complete yet, so I'm still in that process, but I've gone through much of it. And it never fails to amaze me and remind me that I was working on something in my life at some point in time, like abundance. And I go, how did I miss that? Where, in what year did I stop focusing on that word and apply it to my life? By the way, I need that word again, so I'm going to put it back in my work, my mission statement, whatever it may be. So I always learn through the reflection. But this year, what we did as a family is we sat down with the kids, with Abby and I, with our 3 boys, and we went through all of our accomplishments. We kind of took turns, but it wasn't like formal. It wasn't forced at all either. It was just pleasant. In fact, it was more pleasant than I ever would have imagined. We just sit and just kind of took turns, kind of popcorned around what we accomplished. And simple, big, medium, kind of all sizes went into this, just brainstorming. Things like my oldest son and my middle son, actually, they both got their first jobs. They also both hit certain milestones with money saved. Abby and I hit a milestone with money invested. That's pretty cool. We're sharing this with our family. So we're reflecting and we're collectively writing down all of our 2024 accomplishments. That opened up a dialogue of deep, rich, connected discussion that I've never had in that way before with the family, at least from a place of talking about our goals, our wins, and our accomplishments. Friends, I don't know if you've ever thought about doing something like that, and of course it's age appropriate. If your kids are 8 or 9, you're probably not going to tell them how much money you've invested personally or what milestones you've hit, but you might at some point on some topic. But I got to tell you, we got a whole lot out of this connected conversation. I think what it did for myself and my family, more importantly, is it showed us and reminded us a group effort, collectively accomplishing things and collectively winning. It's also nice to reflect, especially as a family, because like that list was longer than we initially thought it was going to be. It was like, oh yeah, we did go as a family and live in Panama for almost a month. That made the list. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, Daddy did get certified in the Birkman Method. And that's important to me for my kids to see that at age 53, I'm still growing and learning and developing. But also help to kind of bring out the accomplishments that my 3 boys achieved as well. We helped them think of things that they hadn't thought about, and vice versa. And at the end of the day, that list was so much more complete. And frankly, I got so much joy out of doing that because I've always kind of done that alone. And here's my list of accomplishments. But when the family's list of accomplishments got put down, it was a much greater list, and it was more of a partnership, a family unit. We're in this together. From there, that led to us talking about, going back to the financial piece for a second, when I told them the number in which we were at, and I also told them to keep that very quiet, it's just between us, they're blown away. And frankly, so am I, and so was Abby. Like the number we had 20 years ago versus the number that's invested in Fidelity today, it's like, holy cow, the power of compound interest. It's a really beautiful thing. Day by day, week by week, quarter by quarter, year by year, decade by decade, look how that stacks up. It truly is the 8th wonder of the world, I guess. But that led into a conversation around saving and investing our money and giving, power of compound interest. And from there, we started talking about Roth IRAs for them and their names. They're already saving for their first cars. That connected family conversation led into that, and I have to believe that all of that was a good thing. So friends, I don't know if you've ever tried or considered anything like that, but do consider age-appropriate sitting down and listing out your accomplishments for the year with your family. Worked well for us. And then from there, we brainstormed, again, not forced, more flow versus force, more pull versus push. What do we want to accomplish in 2025? Now, frankly, the Jody of yesteryear would have had goals for any and everything, goals in all 8 F's, faith, friends, family, finances, etc. And where I've gotten to, at least at the age I am now, is I prefer just to kind of narrow it down to a few powerful things that are going to give me an amazing life for the next year, in this case 2025. What 1 or 2, and if 10 or 12 or 20 come out of that, which by the way almost always does, that's even better. But what are the 2 or 3 things that are really going to make a difference in my life? And so we just kind of brainstormed and came up with that first draft list, not final, draft. And we did that collectively. And that also brought us to a whole new level of feeling connected and complete as a family unit. I think that there's power in us looking back, reflecting, without getting into remorse or regret or some below the line emotion. But I also think there's great power, and I actually think it's pleasant and peaceful and productive as well, to look forward, whether that's visioning or goal setting or whatever it may be. When I think about all the men and women that I've worked with, those who are making progress in a way that's going to make their life better in some way, in other words, they're progressing towards a worthy goal and or vision, those tend to be the happiest people around. And I'm not the first to say this. I first heard this from Tony Robbins when he said of the thousands of people that he coached, the one word that kind of always floated to the top when it comes to happiness of people was progress. But I say all that to say, I believe what Tony Robbins says, and I've seen this play out in my own life and the men and women that I've been able to work with and help. Progress, it tends to make us happy, as long as it's going in a correct or worthy direction. So where I'm going in all this is I'm getting clarity on what I'm going to accomplish in 2025. And I no longer believe that I'm the accomplishment junkie that I used to be. It was accomplishments and achievements, absolutely to feed the ego, and it was all about putting on muscle and more money and even better relationships. And look, I like all of that stuff. I still really like money because it makes me abundant, allows me to give to other people. And I think we should have plenty of abundance and a lot of giving and good spirit and a good heart. And I think others should go give more money to more people and tell me how that makes you feel. It's a great thing. And we should teach our kids that too. Muscle. I love muscle. I ripped, strong muscles. But it no longer defines me. It no longer drives me the way that it once did. It's almost like with this neck injury that I've got, I'll be getting neck surgery, total disc replacement, C5, C6. Is that right? No, C6, C7 in January. I'm looking forward to it. It is time to get these discs fixed in my neck. The sleepless nights have been brutal for me. The loss of tricep from the pinched nerve. It's been a rough go. But I feel like I no longer need to have and carry that strength and muscle, but I still feel like it's going to come back. The muscle's going to be nice, but it's no longer going to drive me. It's not going to be an obsession. It's not going to be fueled by that source. It's just going to be because I enjoy it, but I'm not going to have it. Mindful muscle, perhaps. So friends, after you've taken some considerable time and reflection, I would invite you to look forward. Specific to this year, what do you want to accomplish? And I don't think that needs to be or even should be a list of 20 items long. Perhaps not even 10, although it could be. What if it's 2 or 3? What 2 or 3 things would give you an amazing year ahead of you? Is there one thing that would make all the difference in the world? In my experience in working with so many men and women now, there's usually one thing. If we just take the S for example, the F of fitness, which is fitness and health and energy and muscle and the way we look and feel and perform, but we just call the F of fitness for short. I have seen that F transform so many people in so many lives. I have seen so many men, especially in the school for men that we have, they come in and they get healthy and jacked, keyword healthy, and they're energized, they have mojo, they have more confidence. It's great for their love life, it's great for, they show up at work much better and stronger, oftentimes get promoted, and all they did was elevate that F of their fitness. So I would invite you to ask yourself for this year, 2025, is there 1 or 2 things that could really make a difference in your life that could give you an amazing 2025? It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have 6 or 8 goals. Perhaps you have a goal in all of these F's that we have in Thumos: faith, family, fitness, focus, fun, friendship, F game. But if nothing else, pick 2 or 3. Pick 1. If there's one thing that you can go after, I'm not talking about resolution, done with that stuff. Never works, never sticks. By the way, I think a top trait that you can have in order to meet your goals and be successful in life, in all F's, all areas of life, is to have staying power. To just simply not quit. That's how I did it. I was never the smartest, but I ended up with a master's degree and multiple certifications. I was never the richest. I didn't even use much leverage, not nearly enough, but I accomplished my financial goals. I did the same thing with muscle. Sickly, asthmatic as a kid, skinny, and put on a lot of muscle, 40 pounds. Not with blessed genetics either, not at all. It simply is the same thing across all 3 F's. I just stuck with it. It was the power of compound interest, stacking habits every day. And over time, it tends to get us where we want to go. Void of our emotions. In other words, even if I didn't feel good with working out, I still worked out. Even if I didn't feel like investing and putting that money away, I invested. I put that money away. Didn't matter how I felt. It was void of emotion. But looking back, seeing where I am now and looking back, I pull up the emotion. And the emotion is one of excitement, amazement, gratitude, blessings. I can't believe how far I've come. I'm just a simple guy from Baytown, Texas. So friends, figure out where you want to go. Get clarity the best you can on what you want to accomplish in 2025. In much of my life, I didn't have clarity, if I'm honest with you. There's so many people that don't have clarity. They don't yet know their big purpose, their mission for life. They don't know the path to unlock their potential. It's almost easy if you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. That's the big purpose. How you're going to do this, your job, your vocation, your work, that's the path. Go do that, and all of a sudden you're in your sweet spot with passion, and you're unlocking your potential. So many people just don't know what that is. These poor moms out there that are at home raising kids, and it's hard, man. It's one of the greatest jobs in the world, and daddy's off working and working hard, and they're at home raising kids and going crazy, talking baby talk with 2-year-olds or whatever. And I've seen a lot of wives, a lot of moms lose themselves in that, even turn to alcohol. And that's rough, man. And so I think we as men can do a better job of stepping up and, number 1, showing the appreciation, number 2, helping out, but number 3, helping that mom find her purpose in life. And if she's in it, help her to see that and also understand that that outer purpose can and will change throughout life. So when those kids are grown and gone, who is mama now? If the kids are no longer even around, much less don't need her, at least on the day-to-day. So what does that look like for her? Men, if you're out there, if you're married and you're going through that with your wife, I want you to lean into that. Contact me if you need some help. I've got a tool called the Birkman Method. It's unbelievable at helping us identify. It's like this diagnostic tool for human beings to identify our interest, our needs, and our stressors. Our stressors happen when our needs aren't met. This thing is unbelievable. It has a career mapping section to help us determine with wonderful accuracy and precision what jobs best suit us. Do we want to work indoors or outdoors, with people, with numbers, with analytics? Is it training? Is it selling? Is it motivating? Is it studying? Is it researching? This thing is unbelievable. That's called the Birkman, B-I-R-K-M-A-N. But whatever you do your best to find some clarity to go after what you want to go after, whether it's you or you're helping your spouse or vice versa. And I'll also tell you, whatever you go after, even if it's the so-called wrong thing, as long as you learn from it, it's not the wrong thing. It's not a bad move. It's just a path. I help a lot of men and women as we're trying to figure out their big purpose and their path. And they don't yet know what they want exactly, what lights them up. And Birkman's wonderful for that, by the way. But I'll just simply start with, what do you not want? And that's real easy for men and women. I don't want a boss that micromanages me. I don't want to sit in a cubicle. I don't want to be told what to do. Man, those are easy. Cool. Those are all huge passion and purpose clues. And we write that down. And then we flip it. Okay, so we know what you don't want. So could it be that this is what you do want, which is the exact opposite? So there's ways that we can figure out what we do and what we don't want. Sometimes what we do want by getting clear on what we don't want. And then from there we take some action. And then from there we just sit back and assess that action after some length of time, and then we adjust accordingly. So friends, wherever you are, I invite you to take some time, step back, reflect, invite your family in, especially if your kids are of age. What did you accomplish in 2024? Create some connected conversations, some smiles together, some dopamine, and then focus on where you want to go in 2025. And if it's not exact, you don't have clarity yet, that's okay. Pick something and get going. Here's a passion clue. Here's a hint for you. It's hard to go wrong if you lean into improvement around relationships, fitness and health, and finances. Now finances, that could be business, that could be vocation, and I absolutely want your purpose tied into that, like your God-given purpose in life to help serve, lead, whatever it is, other people. But you almost can't go wrong focusing in more or doubling down again on one of those three areas. Hope this helps. If you like this, please comment. If you like what I'm doing, please comment. That helps drive up views and numbers, helps drive the algorithm. Just comment below 2025. Let's make this the best year ever. I am super grateful for you guys. Thanks for taking the time to view. I'll keep this content coming. Take care.